What's up everyone? Today I have a very simple custom keyboard build for you. This is meant to be a step-by-step guide for people who might be afraid to try, so that it might be easier to approach and you can put one together yourself. The keyboard we're building is the Tofu65 Acrylic, which is by KBDFans. It's pretty standard, so the kit includes the case, PCB, plate, as well as the stabilizers. Keep in mind that you still have to buy switches and keycaps to have a complete build. The acrylic is pretty popular, so the RGB sips in, but this one is very special because it has a weighted plate at the bottom. The first thing I do when I build a keyboard is to test the PCB. You can do this by plugging in the PCB, taking some tweezers, and trying to connect where the pins would be if you plug the switches in. You can use a key tester that you find online or a software to see if these keys are triggering. Mine was good, so we're good to go. Next, we need to install the stabilizers, which stabilizes the longer keys in the keyboard. The stabilizers that we're using is the Durock V1s, which are screw-ons, so they're more steady. A typical stabilizer consists of housing, head, as well as the wiring. We do want to lube these for smoother key travel. The lube that we're going with is the Tofu65 grade 0. These are popular if you're using linear switches. And all we need is a little coat, so don't go overboard. We'll take a thin coat and rub it around each side of the housing, and by the end of it, you should see a little thin layer like this. Similar procedure applies for the head, just a thin layer across all sides. As for the wires, I chose to actually go with dielectric grease because I found it giving me steadier results, and we want to give it a generous amount across each side of the wiring. To assemble, you want to first put the head in where you see a little dent towards the screw part. And with the wire, you want to plug it in under the stem where it sits in, and with a little force, clip it right on. You should see the head move up and down. Now we want to continue the process with all the other stems, and it does get a little greasy, so make sure to wash your hands and also wipe off the excessive grease that you find on the stabilizer. Now remember, these stabilizers go where the long pieces go, and make sure to look at the diagram of your PCB to know where it goes. And once you know, it should sit right in the hole that is provided. And once it is placed, flip it and make sure to screw it on. Once the stabilizers are in, we're ready to place the switches. The switches we went with are the Durock purples, which bottoms out at 67 grams. These are linear switches, but make sure to go with the type of switches that you want. In order to install the switches, we need to put the plate on top, which holds the switches in place before we solder them on. It was hard to show on camera here, but with a little bit of force and making sure the pins line up, you push it in and it should stay in place. I like to start with the corner pieces because it holds the plate where it should be. And you repeat the process tediously with all the switches, and I always check when I put in the switches to make sure both of the pins are sticking out because we need them to solder them. If you find that the pins are not sticking out, it's likely that the pin was bent, but as you can see, it's an easy fix. Just take some tweezers and unbend it. As for the soldering iron, any of the $20 ones from Amazon is fine. I chose this one because it had the on and off switch very accessibly. You also want to have a little fan that blows the lead smoke to the other side because breathing it in could be toxic. I'm using a leftover NZXT case fan with the header to USB adapter. I had it sitting around, but I liked it because it does the job and it is quiet, but any fan would do. If you're afraid of soldering, don't be. It's actually very simple. You can practice on a practice board and watch a couple videos and you'll be good enough. I'm not perfect at it, but at least the keyboard got working. But as a quick guide, as you can see here, just place the iron on the pin and feed the lead as it melts. And again, I'm not that good at it and I could have used more lead, but just make sure the switch pins and the board makes a connection and you'll be good. And again, repeat it. Tedious, but by the end of it, you'll be a soldering master. And once completed, make sure to connect it again and test all the switches to see if they're triggering. Mine were, so we're good. This means we're ready to put it in the case, so gently place it in. Some people like to put foam in between, but it's preference and we decided not to in our case. And with the included screws, just screw in the board to the case. And with the plate in the case, we're ready to do the final step, which is to put the keycaps on. This again is a tedious process, but it's fun seeing your keyboard reach its final form. And once all the keycaps are in, we have So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope this was clear and fun build for you as well. It was fun for me and I hope it was helpful. So make sure to subscribe, like, and see you guys in the next one.